Welcome to Think Tank Television, and I'm your host, Dr. Ralph Steele, and we are live here on the Now Network on Think Tank Television. Folks, we are here. What do? We are a financial company that provides people with the knowledge and the information on investments, but we also do teach people how to grow, to start, grow, and expand their businesses as well. But today we have a special show for you today about investing for your children. Investing for your children, and also investing for your grandchildren. Because a lot of people hear the cliche or the term generational wealth. So that presupposes a question. How do you start and begin to develop generational wealth? Well, listen, God gave all of us, when we have children, all of our children are nothing more than a gift from God. So one of the things we do is, yes, we supervise, yes, we parent, yes, we send our children to school, yes, we send our children to church, a mass. But you know what? One of the greatest things we could do is also help our children to understand wealth. And now, so one of the first things I want to just talk about is this, and I highly recommend you to start teaching, guiding, and having your child to learn about finance, money, and wealth as early as they can, because that's one of the principles of because if you're going to invest monetary in your child and your children, one of the things you also need to do is invest in financial literacy and education with them as well. And so today, the second thing I like to just speak about is, and these are a couple of things that you need to know that I highly recommend when it comes to investing in your children, because it's not just the money part, folks. It's about the value, the understanding, the education, the financial literacy, helping children, young people to understand the value of money and how to earn money, how to spend it, how to use it as a tool that can help them, but also, as I said again, helping to create generational wealth that lasts generations to come. And so, with that being said, another, what I would call a tidbit or a tool that you can use is focus on teaching your children financial literacy. Now, some of you may not know financial literacy, and I get it. Well, if you don't know it, then a good thing would be is to now get an expert, someone like myself, or there are many people who can teach your children financial literacy so they have a better understanding, a grasp, they have an intelligent view of how money works. The third thing I'd like to talk about is this here, is building an understanding of money, because listen, folks, money is very, very important, not only for you as an adult, but for your children. And so as you help them, put them in position to build that understanding of money and the worth of money, how money works, and first and foremost, realizing this, so that children realize this. Money works 24 hours. It never stops working. Now, here's something I want you to know. You have money. Either your money is going to be made and the interest on it by somebody else, or it's going to be made and the interest on it by you. Take your choice. You have two options. All money is always making money. Now, you can pick option self, and so that your money will be made for your interest and for your best financial interest. Or you can have that money and somebody else will make the interest on it for yourself. Now, the fourth thing I'd like to talk about today, folks, is this here. Involve your children in team money situations where they can assist, for instance, in even understanding utilities. I mean, look at how we take care of our living, our livelihood, how we live, mortgage, utilities, car expenses, educational expenses for those who are Christians or whatever religion, tithing, purchasing clothes. In other words, and then you can put it in two levels. Level A is purchasing those things that we need. Level B is purchasing those things that we want. Now, level A, you can have your children to be involved in even purchasing and understanding the cost and how to actually also save and find sales. Not just go to the stores or the supermarkets buying food or whatever, clothes, and just spending any kind of money on it, but looking specifically for sales so that when children buy something, they spend less and get more value out of what they spend. Thereby, in essence, what they're doing, folks, is they're saving money. And then the money that they're saved, you can have your children take, let's say, for instance, I'm going to give you an example. You have $100 budget. So you go to the store and you're going to buy clothes for your children. All right? I'm going to use one boy, for instance. So now the boy go buy some clothes, buy a couple of shirts, a couple of pair of trousers. Okay? Question, should he spend the entire $100 on a pair of trousers and clothes? No. Another point, can he spend the whole $100? Yes, you can go to any store and you can spend that whole $100. Here's what I recommend. You take that $100 budget, you have your son to search around, to look for items that are either on sale, look for quality items. Notice what I said, quality items, quality shirts, quality pants, so they can be bought on sale. For instance, now you find 2 shirts and you get them for $10 or $15. Now you find 2 pair of trousers. You get them for $20. Now you got $30, not including the tax. Let's say the tax for everything is $37. So now you have, I'm going to round it off for make things easy to $40. Now you have $60 left. Guess what I recommend you do with that $60? Have your son, now it could be a girl too, have your son or your daughter to take that $60 and invest that $60 so now they can see, number one, they was involved in purchasing things that they need. Number two, they invested $60 for themselves that will be in there, and now you're helping them to understand the use and the value of money. Now, I used a very simple, scenario, but it could also be you have a $20,000 budget. I'm gonna use this one. Now you have a $20,000 budget for son or daughter, because it doesn't matter. All right? Now, son or daughter wants to purchase a vehicle. Now, you go looking, BMW, Mercedes, Cadillac, Honda, Toyota, Chevrolet, Ford, all those different vehicles. Now, remember, you got $20,000, all right? Instead of, or should I say this, should you spend the entire $20,000 on one vehicle. No. Again, look at this, folks. It comes down to value. You go look for a vehicle between $10,000 and $15,000. Look at a vehicle that you can have checked out by a quality certified mechanic, right? Yeah, great, good, you got it. Now, you get that vehicle checked out. The car is, let's say the car is $15,000. That's the sticker price, all right? Now you have your son or daughter to do some negotiating. Did you hear what I just said? Okay, it says $15,000. I recommend have your son or daughter say, "Sir, Mr. Salesman, I'm going to buy this vehicle. I have $12,000 to purchase this vehicle. And by the way, sir, this is my first vehicle that I'll be driving to school so I can get my education, I can be safe, and I want it to be a good vehicle. It's already been checked out by the mechanic, been certified, and guess what? $12,000. Well, what if the salesman say, "You got it"? Well, get in the car, pay your money, you drive off. Folks, guess what? You just saved $8,000 out of $20,000. Now you take, again, your son and daughter, you take that $8,000 and you let them invest it. Now that $8,000 can go towards their college. It can go towards them being some monies toward purchasing a first home, or they can use it any kind of way they want. Bottom line is you're involving your child in a scenario, in a team approach. You're involved, you're right there with them, you're monitoring, you're supervising them, you're giving them the education about money, the value of money that all of our children need, so that they won't just spend and waste money. And money don't grow on trees. It's not Chicken Little. It don't fall out of the sky. And you know what? God wants all of us, adults and children, to be good stewards over our money. And you know what? That's how a child should be nurtured and taught properly about money, including even us as adults. We should know that as well. Now, the fifth thing I want to talk about is this. And the very first thing about the 15A is this here. You want to start teaching your children how to be debt-free. Listen, folks, there are a lot of folks who are stressed out. They're crazy because they're in debt, because they were not taught the value of money and spending properly. And so my position is, as a financial consultant, as an expert, this is why I have this television show, to teach you parents, you fathers and mothers out there, so that our American children would understand that being debt-free is a very, very valuable lesson to know, to learn, and to live. To be debt-free, because you don't want your son or daughter to graduate from high school, to graduate from college, and now they have all of this debt. It makes no sense. And now life ain't worth living when people live in all of this debt. Versus, you know what? Like I said, you save $8,000 and you purchase a first-time vehicle for your child. And now it's saving $8,000, but only paid $12 out of $20,000. It makes sense, folks. A lot of times people could have more money, and when I talk about having more money, I use the term, folks, surplus. I believe that every family, every individual, every person always have surplus. It's simply a matter how you manage your money safely. and how you, in your mind, keep at least as much of your money in your own pocket rather than just spending it and giving it away. Free flow, free for all. It's kind of like those of us who live in America, and we're supposed to live in the land of the brave and the free, and we're supposed to have freedom. Folks, let me tell you a secret about freedom. There is no freedom without responsibility and accountability. Take it for what it's worth. So now, this is also how we have to teach our children, and especially when it comes to money. Now, I'll give you a secret to what I believe. I believe that there are two things in life we can't do without, besides food and air: God and money. God first, money second. And you know what? Today, though, we're talking about money. Money is something that everybody needs, but it's a matter how you use it, how you manage it, or you're going to lose it. Remember, I said that. Dr. Ralph Steele, right here on Wealth Think Tank Television on the Now Network. Now, here's some things that I want to talk about, and this is about some of the investment that you can do with your children. The first thing I want to talk about is this here. A lot of people don't realize this, though. You can actually invest literally money in your children at age 1 and 2 years old. Did you know that? Listen, the Bible doesn't lie. It said, teach your children. And you do that by teaching them morality, teaching them ethics. You're teaching them respect for their elders. You teach them respect for their authority. You teach them respect for their teachers. You teach them respect for the police. But you know what? You also teach them respect, for money. So you can invest in your children in money as early as 1 and 2 years old. Now, what you say, Dr. Steele, what are some of the things you can invest in at that age? I'm glad you asked me that, television audience. Now, we had a question from someone, and he's asked me that, and I'm going to answer his question. He's a father, and he has 3 children. You may be a father, mother, and you may have 1 children. You may even be a single parent, have 1 or 2 children. So I'm going to go to a list of some of the things that you can invest in your children, because I'm going to tell you something. Fathers, mothers out there, or if you're a single parent, I get it. You won't believe what you can do to invest in your children at an early age, because number one, if you invest in an early age, guess what? It is far cheaper. You get a bigger bang for your buck when you invest early with your children. Remember now, when you invest, there's an interest rate that grows your money based on what we call the Rule of 72. Now, one of the first things you can invest your money in is this. It's called the Educational Fund 529. And you can do it, and it can be tax-free. Now, be reminded, though, you have to use that specifically on educational expenses only. So that's number one. We call it the Investment 529, Educational Investments. A lot of people have those. I've had some for my own children as well. A second thing you can invest in your children is you can invest in what we call a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA. Now, a Roth IRA, after 5 years, though, is solely tax-free. And it's capped at about $7,000 a year. You can't put more than $7,000 every year. But, again, after 5 years, let's say after 5 years you had $35,000 and you wanted to take out $5,000. That $5,000 will not be taxed on a Roth IRA. That's one of the good things about that. Another thing that you can invest in is what we call whole life insurance. And there are basic two types. There's a whole life where you can pay it out all the way to the duration of your life, but it grows interest again. You don't lose any money, but also when you do decide to withdraw from it, again, it's tax free. Now, there's a second whole life. It's called whole life 10 pay. That whole life is you invest it, and you can invest on all of these investments, folks. You can invest on your children or your grandchildren as well. So you can take those, the whole life 10 pay, and you invest in it for 10 years. After 10 years, you don't have to pay anything. Absolutely nothing. But guess what? It keeps growing and growing and growing until it's a big old pot of money. Yes, it is. It's called a 10 pay. And is also tax free if you decide to take any money out of it. Now, the con side of that is after 10 years, you can never add any more money to it, but it still grows though, because every investment has its specific rules to it. Another investment that's really good is what we call the Index Universal Life Annuity. And that is also, you have to let it set for 10 years. You can do it early on. All of these investments, you can get them at a lower price. Now, the whole life 10 pay costs a little bit more because after 10 years, you don't have to pay no more. So you pay more on the front end and less on the back end. None after 10 years. But the Index Universal Life Annuity, you can also get it at a lower price. Keep it for 10 years. You can use it for educational or for whatever you want to use it for. After 10 years, guess what, folks? It's tax free. Now, excuse me. Going back to the whole life, it's about 4 to 6% interest. The 10 pay is about 4 to 6% interest. But the Index Universal Life Annuity, the what some people call the IUL, the IUL is between 7 and 10% interest. Now, all of these investments, folks, you lose absolutely no money. And the basic cost of them is just a basic, what we call cost of the insurance cost. That's normal. That's standard. But these are excellent investment that you can invest on your children, but also, folks, your grandchildren. Because guess what? If you want to start, create, develop, and have generational wealth, the earliest you do it, not just something that you're leaving behind, but you're also creating something for your children and grandchildren themselves. That's what you do. Now, you're also going to have this one. We call it just a simple college saving plan. Tax-free. You just save it, put that money in there, and you can start as low as $50, and you can put it in what is called a growth track annuity. You can put it in that growth track annuity. Yes, like any good investment, it just grows and it grows and it grows. Now, the growth track annuity is taxable, but it grows. But also, guess what? You lose absolutely no money. In fact, folks, every single one of the investment that I have gone over with you today, 529, the Roth IRA, the whole life, the 2 life insurance, the IULs, every college plan, the growth track annuity, every single one of them, you lose absolutely $0 because they're in what we call a safe pool, a safe bucket of money. And so those bucket of monies are monies that you can invest in and not only make money, protect your money. The money is safe. There's little or no risk involved. The money is insured. In fact, in the state of Texas, it insures it up to $350,000 through the Texas Department of Insurance, but also the insurance company itself insures all of the money. So you're safe. So listen, get your child to work and actually put some of their work money, because you can child have a job. They can work at home doing chores. You can pay them. It's just about teaching them the value of money, investing in money, so that they would understand money and they won't grow up illiterate or ignorant to the fact of money. And they would be good stewards of money. So I say to you today, folks, invest in your children and your grandchildren. Now, one other thing I want to quickly talk about is this. You can also teach your children to invest in stocks. Take a percentage so they'll understand it. You can teach them to invest in what we call also mutual funds, invest in also what we call NTF, which is non-fungible, tokens. And so those are some things also that they can invest in. You got it? So if you do that, you will be teaching them and giving them a way of life to live and understand money. Right now, folks, the consumer price index is 8.6%. So this is a very special time that we all need to take a break and say, look, let me invest in my children. Also, remember this, folks. All of us need a minimum of 3 streams of income, not just for ourselves, but starting our children and grandchildren on those streams by investing in them as well. You have been watching Wealth Think Tank Television on the Now Network every Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Folks, I want to thank you, television audience, for watching us. I'm your host, Dr. Ralph Steele. My number is 817-729-0543. If you desire to become a sponsor, please go to www.wme3cash.com and click on Wealth Pay and be a sponsor and keep this show about financial freedom, about wealth on the air, because financial freedom is what we all need. You know what? Because when you are financially free, you are free indeed. And you know what? I believe God wants us to be financially free. Thank you again for watching Wealth Think Tank Television. I'm your host, Dr. Ralph Steele, on the Now Network, which is nationwide, everywhere. Thank you again, and tune in and watch us on Wealth Think Tank Television.